If you have your Bibles, if you'll turn to Proverbs chapter 6 with me this morning. And before we get into this message, I want to say if you are having a bad day, we probably should talk about somebody else's suffering, because that usually cheers us up, right? You know, if I started out this morning by saying, hey, I woke up this morning, I rolled too far in bed and I fell out of bed, and that's how I woke up this morning, suddenly your day has become better. You fell out of bed? Yeah, it was terrible. I hurt my arm. I fell out of bed this morning. Suddenly, you're smiling and your day's become better. If we're walking under a tree and a bird just drops a gift down, if it lands on me, your day's good. If it lands on you, my day has become better. This is how we operate. So let's go ahead and start this morning by looking at somebody else's suffering. Many of you have probably heard this story. The Bricklayers accident report. It was written in December 4th, 1958. It was a report. Mythbusters has gone in and to see if this was a true thing, if it could be a true thing, and they have determined that it is plausible. This could actually be a report. So I'm going to read this report. I'm going to try not to laugh as I read this report, because it is about somebody else's suffering, and you know how we operate. So I'm going to read this report here. It says, "Dear Sir, I'm writing in response to your request for additional information in block number 3 of the accident reporting form. I put poor planning as the cause of my accident. You asked for a fuller explanation, and I trust the following details will be sufficient. I am a bricklayer by trade. On the day of the accident, I was working alone on the roof of a new 6-story building. When I completed my work, I found I had some bricks left over, which when weighed later were found to weigh 240 pounds. Rather than carrying the bricks down by hand, I decided to lower them in a barrel by using a pulley which was attached to the side of the building at the 6th floor. Securing the rope at ground level, I went up to the roof, swung the barrel out, and loaded the bricks into it. Then I went down and untied the rope, holding it tightly to ensure a slow descent of the 240 pounds of bricks. You will note on the accident reporting form that my weight is 135 pounds. Due to my surprise at being jerked off the ground so suddenly, I lost presence of mind and forgot to let go of the rope. Needless to say, I proceeded at a rapid rate up the side of the building. In the vicinity of the 3rd floor, I met the barrel, which was now proceeding downward at an equally impressive speed. This explains the fractured skull, minor abrasions, and broken collarbone as listed in section 3 of the accident reporting form. Slowed only slightly, I continued my rapid ascent, not stopping until the fingers of my right hand were 2 knuckles deep into the pulley, which I mentioned in paragraph 2 of this correspondence. Fortunately, by this time, I had regained my presence of mind and was able to hold the rope, in spite of the excruciating pain I was now beginning to experience. At approximately the same time, however, the barrel of bricks hit the ground and the bottom fell out of the barrel. Now, devoid of the weight of the bricks, the barrel weighed approximately 50 pounds. I refer you again to my weight. As you might imagine, I began a rapid descent down the side of the building. In the vicinity of the 3rd floor, I met the barrel coming up. This accounts for the 2 fractured ankles, broken tooth, and severe lacerations of my legs and lower body. Here my luck began to change slightly. The encounter with the barrel seemed to slow me enough to lessen my injuries when I fell into the pile of bricks. Fortunately, only 3 vertebrae were cracked. I'm sorry to report, however, as I lay on the pile of bricks, in pain, unable to move, and watching the empty barrel 6 stories above me, I again lost my composure and presence of mind, and I let go of the rope. You can follow the rest of the story in your own head. I love this account. I hope it wasn't true, but I still like it. That's hilarious to me. That's a really, really bad day. It says the cause that was listed for the man's accident was poor planning. He wasn't thinking. He just wasn't thinking. He was just doing. He wasn't considering the outcome of each decision that he made. I'm going to hold on to the rope. No, I'm going to let go of the rope. He didn't think it through. Every decision he made, he didn't make it with thinking first. He just did instead of thought. I want to show you how the same kind of thing can happen to us, but on a spiritual level. Before we get into the text verse this morning, I want to show you a story where some serious damage was done, and it was all because of a simple action. Just one little simple action, and you can destroy everything. David is on the throne in Jerusalem, but his son Absalom thinks he should be in charge instead. If you recall that story in the Bible, Absalom, his son, thinks he should be king, and David is the king. So he comes up with a brilliant plan of attack against his dad without ever lifting a finger. He decides to take over the kingdom without doing a thing. That's pretty smart. Look at 2 Samuel chapter 15, and we'll start in verse 2 here. Now Absalom would rise early and stand beside the way to the gate. So it was whenever anyone who had a lawsuit came to the king for a decision, that Absalom would call to him and say, "What city are you from?" And he would say, "Your servant is from such and such a tribe of Israel." The city gate was where all the legal matters of the city were addressed. You would go to the city gate. Absalom decided to cut David off at the pass. People were coming to David because he was the king and the judge. So they would come to David to talk to David about the issues that they were having in life, and Absalom would call them over to the city gate. Hey, let's talk over here. This was a genius plan for a man who had no army to take over the kingdom. Let's just deal with the legal matters. Before you get to my dad, let's take care of matters here at the city gate. When the people came to see the king for the issues they were having, Absalom would get their attention and begin to talk about the issue with that person. Oh, you're the king's son anyway, so why not? Let's go ahead and talk to Absalom about this. He would befriend them, and then he would point out the hypothetical problem that they were having. Look at verse 3. Then Absalom would say to him, "Look, your case is good and right, but there is no deputy of the king to hear you." Immediately, Absalom would side with the people. Then he fired the shot that no one saw coming. He would side with them. He would make friends with them. You know, you're right. You're absolutely right. Your case is good, and you're absolutely right for the way you feel. But we do have a problem here. If only the king had appointed someone to take care of these things. If only the king had stepped up. The king isn't really taking care of the people like he should. See, we have a void here. There's nobody here to help. You have a problem, and you're right. You're right with your problem. You are absolutely justified in the way you feel. But the king's let you down here. He's let you down. There's no deputy to take care of the problems here. Your case is good and right. But because of the failure in leadership, you still have a problem. You still have a problem. That's when Absalom drops the hint for the way to solve the problem. Look at verse 4. Moreover, Absalom would say, "Oh, that I were made the judge in the land, and everyone who has any suit or cause would come to me, then I would give him justice." And there it is. The shot's fired. Just right there. If only I were in charge. If I were in charge, we could have fixed this. With these simple little conversations that Absalom is having, David's kingdom begins to crumble. Day after day, people would come to Absalom, or they were on their way to David to get justice served, and Absalom would intervene. Like, hey, let's talk about it. You have a problem? You want to talk to my dad about it? He's busy. I'll take care of this with you. If only I was in charge, we could solve these problems. But Dad let you down. And because he let you down, you still have a problem here. Now people are becoming frustrated with David. Why is David letting us down? Why is the king not doing his job? Why isn't he stepping up and leading the way he should be leading? Why is he letting us down? Absalom seems to be right here. If he were in charge, maybe we would see things accomplished the way they were supposed to be accomplished in the first place. But David is letting us down here. Absalom has started a war with David that David doesn't even know is happening. He's being attacked, but David doesn't know about this. Look at verse 5. And so it was, whenever anyone came near to bow down to him, that he would put out his hand and take him and kiss him. In this manner, Absalom acted toward all Israel, who came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel. This subtle attack against David led David to flee for his life for a second time. You remember the first time he was running away from King Saul. He was hiding from King Saul. This time he's fleeing from his own son. The people of Israel are now siding with Absalom. Yeah, your dad's letting us down. Maybe you should be in charge. So now they're following Absalom, and David ends up fleeing for his own life from his own child. Israel's been divided. The allegiance is split between David and Absalom. Eventually, Absalom, if you just follow the story, eventually you see that Absalom is going to be hunted down and killed, and David's family would be torn apart forever. The destruction that came with Absalom's decision to tear down his father's name was catastrophic. There's no way you can put this back together. Absalom did not physically attack his dad, but he did turn the kingdom away from his father. And now they're following him, and he not only destroyed the kingdom here, he destroyed his family's name, he destroyed his name, he destroyed his dad's name. Everything is destroyed but what did he do? Did Absalom ever do anything? He just had conversations. That's it. He just talked. Absalom decided to act like he was in charge and take the lead in an area where he had absolutely no right to take the lead. This is not your position. You should not take the lead here. He filled his barrel with more bricks than he could handle. And when things got too far out of hand, the one injury led to another injury. And it just destroyed the family. It destroyed the kingdom. It ended up costing him his own life. I want to show you the move that destroyed this family. And the sad thing is that the same move is commonly made today. It's not just a story about Absalom. This is something, and I assure you, you get 10 people in a room, we've got this problem. We've got this problem. In this room, we probably have some of this going on. In your family, there's a chance that some of this may be going on because it's such a common problem. You might even be guilty of it yourself and not even realize the damage that you're causing. This could be you that's causing the problem here. In Proverbs chapter 6, God reveals part of his character to us. If you want to grow deeper in a relationship with somebody, it's good to get to know that person. That helps grow in the relationship. So if you want to grow in a relationship with somebody, you have to learn about their likes and their dislikes. You can find out that I like something, but if you also give me all the things I don't like, we're not really growing here. Okay, you need to know both sides. So like, man, Josh loves ribeye steak. Here's ribeye steak. Here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go. At the same time, you keep loading me up with things I don't like, but it comes with a ribeye. Our relationship's wavering here. We have a problem. Yeah, I get a lot of steak, but don't give me any more steak because you pile all these other things on my life too that I despise. So we're not growing. So you got to have both sides. Well, this is where God tells us about his dislikes. So if you want to grow in a relationship with somebody, you need to know both sides. And this is where God tells us what he does not like. These are the things I don't like. When we get to the last one on the list, the language changes to more intense description. I don't like this, and 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 I really don't like this. I really don't like this. Look at Proverbs chapter 6 in verse 16. These 6 things the Lord hates. Yes, 7 are an abomination to him. A proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked plans, feet that are swift in running to evil, a false witness who speaks lies, and one who sows discord among brethren. Hebrew literary writing can be fun. Here we have 7 out of 6 things that the Lord hates. I love Hebrew writing. There's 7 out of 6. And the 7th one is a doozy. This is big stuff here. Don't miss the fact that God expresses this one as an abomination. It doesn't just irritate him, it infuriates him. God hates these things. I want to focus on the last one on the list because it's becoming more and more prevalent in this day and age. God hates the act of sowing discord among brethren. I hate it. Absolutely. He doesn't say, yeah, I don't care for that. No, he says it's an abomination. I completely despise that. Sowing discord among brethren. This is all Absalom was trying to do. That's all he was doing. He never physically attacked his father. He just sowed discord. He was just speaking in such a way as to turn the people's hearts to him instead of David. That's all he was doing. All he had to do was paint David in a negative light, and then everything else was going to fall in place. If I can just destroy his name and his reputation, the kingdom's mine. That was a genius move. I can have it all if I can just turn them away from him. Sowing discord means to create suspicion or doubt about somebody else. That's all it is. That's all it is. I'm going to create suspicion or doubt in your mind about another person. And it creates strife and it creates division. Many times it all starts with assuming that somebody meant something about what they did or what they said. An assumption. That's all it is. I say, hey, nice shirt. Well, it's the same shirt I was wearing last week and I haven't got to laundry. Man, it's probably putting me down because I'm a slob. What an assumption. But now I tell somebody else, oh, you got to watch that guy. Watch him because he'll put you down. Because you're just busy or you've been dealing with all this stuff, he'll put you down. Now, all we did there was make an assumption. That's all we did. But then I sowed discord to another person like, wow, I didn't know that about him. Now we've got a problem developing. Now we're growing into an issue. Then we assume something, and then we share that assumption with somebody else. That's all we're doing. And now there's doubt or concern developing in that person's mind about another person too. And congratulations, we've fired the shot. That we are tearing things apart with that simple little action. When we decide to sow discord, we are taking the lead in an area where we have no right taking the lead. That is what we are doing. We're acting like an expert who has all the information, and most of the time we don't have all the information. But suddenly we feel like we are the authority who can speak about this. Because we have been hurt, we have been upset, something has happened, so now I can come to you and talk to you about a problem that I'm having with somebody else. And what are we doing? Eventually we've destroyed a church, we've destroyed homes, we've destroyed a nation. Look, just turn on the news. What's one side doing to the other side? I want to create suspicion or doubt. That's all we're trying to do is sow discord so we can get the allegiance from this side and moved over to this side. That's all that's happening. Now we look at that and we say, oh, we don't agree with that. That's just a dirty, rotten move. But what are we doing in our own lives when we do the exact same thing? I go home because I'm upset with something somebody said. I go home and share it with my family, and my kids hear me talk about this person. Now they don't like that person, and we're just growing here. And that person really didn't mean anything by what they said, or they were talking about somebody else and it wasn't even me. I just went with an assumption here, but now my family cannot be close to that family because, well, we don't like that guy. We just don't like that guy. For what reason? There wasn't a reality version in there. It was just an assumption. If we act like we have the right to give out the information, if we act like the expert and we are leading in an area where we have no right leading, and we're moving forward while creating a false sense of justice about somebody else by talking to them. God says he hates this. He didn't say, I don't care for this. He says, I absolutely hate this. We live in a time where our opinions are so important that if somebody disagrees with us, everybody's going to know this because this is a society that we live in. If somebody disagrees with us, it's worth ending the relationship and destroying them with slander. Open your Facebook. You'll see it. You'll see it. It's not, I've never heard of this. Yes, you have. Just open it up, scroll just a little bit. It's all over. It's all over. This is our society. You don't agree with me on an issue, so now I'm going to destroy you with just a post. Who are you going to talk to about? Talk with about me? Who are you going to do that? Oh, the entire world population. I'm just going to put it on the internet and let everybody know the issue I have with you. Social media has become an outlet to give people the courage to say things about others that they would have never said to their face. I don't know what's going through our mind to think, oh man, I don't even want to talk to that person. If you stood by that person, you would not say it to their face, but somehow you think you're under a cloak or something. We can put it on social media and it'll be okay. They're going to find out, and now everybody else is going to have feelings about that person too, because they love you. They're going to side with you because they love you, and now you've hurt somebody else just with a simple post. Just with a simple post. I have seen very good relationships, and I mean, I'm thinking about the relationship right now. I have seen very good relationships ended over a difference of opinion about minor issues because somebody thought it was a major issue, but it was a minor thing, and relationships were destroyed. Discord is destructive. This is why God says, I absolutely hate this. I hate it. Because you're destroying my people. You're destroying relationships even with me. Because the bitterness now they're having towards each other is affecting the openness that I have to communicate with them. You're hurting my relationship with them, and you're hurting their relationship with other people. I absolutely despise discord. Look at Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 28. It says, a perverse man sows strife, and a whisperer separates the best of friends. God didn't just place this in his word because he needed more information to talk about. That's not what happened. This is something we all need to look at and take seriously. We live in a society where this is considered to be the norm. This is the norm. I have a problem with you. I've got 12 people that I'm going to discuss this with over lunch today. This is the norm. This is just what people do. This is our society. Christians get wrapped up in this all the time. It's not just something that's happening outside of church. It's happening within our churches. This is a problem that we have. It's like Satan finds an area where he can create a spark. Just a spark. It can be an assumption, but let's go ahead and create a spark. And before we know it, lives are ruined and friendships are torn apart. People leave the church. Can't talk to the pastor anymore because what he said in that message today, I know he was talking about me. He didn't even know you were there that day. There was a lot of people. He missed you. But an assumption. We used to call it roast preacher. We have roast preacher for lunch. You know, everybody goes home and has lunch and we talk about the message that preacher. Can you believe he talked about us that way? You know, it was called roast preacher. That's what we're going to have for lunch. By the way, take it off the menu. I don't want to know that's happening. Don't have roast preacher for lunch. But that's what it was called because that happened all the time. We talk, man, that pastor. He found out about my life and then he was looking at me. You know, he looked at me 3 times while he was preaching that day. I look over top of you. You people scare me. I don't make eye contact. Yeah, so I don't take it personally if I'm looking in your direction. You terrify me. So it's not a personal thing if I say something that hits you. Talk to the one who was poking you. It wasn't me. Talk to the person who hey, you hear that? I wasn't saying it about you. Maybe he was talking to you. Our circles become smaller. And we become increasingly more happy and more bitter when we do this. We break relationships and we hurt ourselves. And our circles get smaller and smaller, so the only place we feel comfortable is at home with our family because everybody else in the world is, well, they're stupid. We don't get along with anybody now. So now we're only within the walls of our own home, and before long, the people in our own home are starting to become stupid. And our circles just get smaller and smaller and smaller because Satan he's gone ahead and just created a spark. Let me just create a spark here. So how do we stop it? What do we do? Proverbs 26 and verse 20. Where there is no wood, the fire goes out. And where there is no talebearer, strife ceases. As charcoal is to burning coals and wood to fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife. Stop fueling the fire. That's it. How do we make it stop? Stop fueling the fire. As I mentioned a little bit ago, if you want to grow deeper in a relationship, you have to understand the heart of the person you're wanting to grow deeper in a relationship with. You need to understand that person. God tells us that this is an abomination to him. I hate this. I hate this. Talking bad about other people does not fit within a godly character. This morning in Sunday school, Judas was the person that was discussed. That was the disciple they were talking about in Sunday school this morning. What amazes me about Judas's life, one of the biggest events in Judas's life, is the upper room where Jesus is talking to the disciples and said, one of you will betray me. You know, every one of those disciples thought it could have been them before they thought it ever could have been Judas. Is it me, Lord? Is it me? Is it me? You know what that means? Jesus never spoke badly about Judas, even though he knew Judas's heart. He never sowed discord. He protected Judas's reputation the whole time. That's incredible to me. When knowing what I know about Judas right now, I would say, yeah, probably that guy. Because, I read the book. I know it was him. So I had a little more information. But to feel like it could be me that betrayed Jesus, who's going to betray you, Jesus? Is it me? Is it me? They thought it could possibly be them before they ever considered it to be Judas. Because Jesus never sowed discord. I never talked bad about him. I never put him down. I protected his reputation, and I knew his heart the whole time. I protected him. What if someone really does you wrong, though? I mean, I'm going to say with Judas and Jesus, yeah, there was wrong done. And he really did Jesus wrong. So what happens if somebody does you wrong? What if you just can't stand them? And you just need to talk to somebody and get it off your chest. What do you do then? And we all know that feeling, right? We all know that feeling. Man, I just got to talk to somebody. I got to get this off my chest. So what do? Spoiler alert, God gives you the answer. It's right here, Matthew 18:15. Moreover, if your brother sins against you, go and tell him his fault between you and him alone. If he hears you, you have gained your brother. God's answer is reconciliation, not division. Not division. Go talk to them. Yeah, but I don't want to talk to them. I don't like confrontation. You have a problem. You have an issue that you can't live with. Maybe it shouldn't be done in confrontation. Maybe you should go and say, hey, what you did really hurt me, and I don't want to fight over this. I don't want to create a debate over this. I just want to tell you my heart. So there seems to be a wedge in our relationship right now, and I just want to make sure we're okay. That's not confrontation. It's just a different approach. But God says to go to that person. Reconcile. Don't divide. Don't divide. The person who's sowing discord is creating division. Now, I get it. There are people out there who irritate me too. Okay, I get it. You can smile about that. You're like, nobody irritates Josh. And there are people. I'm not looking at you. No, there are people who irritate all of us. We got so many different personalities. We got different likes, dislikes, different opinions out there. There's going to be somebody out there that irritates every one of us to a certain extent. But I cannot allow myself to drag their name through the dirt because I don't agree with them. That's still a person that God died for and absolutely adores and loves. What right would I have to drag their name through the dirt just because we don't see eye to eye? I don't have the right to do that. Paul tells us exactly what the child of God is supposed to look like. Look at Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 1. I, therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you to walk worthy of the calling with which you were called, with all lowliness and gentleness, with long-suffering, bearing with one another in love, endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. We are supposed to be handling everyone with the love of God. Everyone, even the irritating guy. Everyone. We handle everyone with the love of God. Unity is the goal, not division. Unity is the goal. Satan knows how powerful discord is. He knows. It's just one spark. Many forest fires were caused by that reason right there. Just one spark. And he knows that we all need a chance to vent sometimes. Every one of us. I just need to vent. Be careful. Please be careful, because this is an easy trap to get sucked into. Before long, you're right in the middle of sowing discord, and you never meant to do it. You're just there. You created pain in somebody else's life. You destroyed somebody's reputation. You didn't mean for it to go that far. It just did. Be careful, because this is a really easy trap to get sucked into. We don't need people who will help us vent. Did you know that? We don't need people who will help us vent. We need people who will help us stay on track when we're feeling negative towards somebody else. Did you talk to him? Did you talk to him about it? Hey, I need to tell you about so-and-so. Wait. Have you told so-and-so about him? No, I haven't talked to them first. You can come to me after you go to them. Because the Bible says, go to them. Don't come to me. I'm going to help you go. I'm going to help you fix this. Venting isn't going to fix it. Communicating is going to fix it. So go back. Just go back. We all need to take a stand against those conversations that cause division. We all need to do that. You need to do it. I need to do it. We all need to be part of this. Look at what Paul told Titus to do. It's a real simple instruction here. Titus chapter 3 and verse 10. Reject a divisive man after the first and second admonition. This isn't the idea of rejecting a person as much as it is rejecting the divisiveness. Okay? There are those who are just divisive. They just want to cause division. They're going to talk bad about other people. Walk away. Walk away. We're not doing this, because this is going to break relationships apart. This is going to destroy things. We can't do this. You want to talk about sports? Let's talk about sports. You want to talk about something? I'm not rejecting you. I'm rejecting the divisiveness. Let's not talk negatively about other people. So let's keep it positive and let's go. But he says, walk away. Walk away. Maybe you're the person who's gotten themselves wrapped up in this kind of thing. You don't. Remember, I'm not making eye contact with you, okay? Look, he's talking about me. I'm not talking about you, okay? Maybe I've been guilty of it too. I've been here. There have been times in my life where I've been here, okay? So maybe this is a place that you've found yourself. Well, here's your opportunity to grow deeper in your relationship with God. This is it right here. This is it. Remember the Bricklayers report at the beginning of the sermon? He stated that the cause was due to poor planning. He didn't take the time to think. He didn't take the time to think. Then when everything started going in the wrong direction, he wouldn't let go of the rope. You know the story. You heard the story. It's a fascinating story. But that was his problem. I want to give you an acrostic that I learned many years ago that has helped me to govern my speech, my conversations with other people. And it is so true. It's amazing. You've probably seen it before, but I want to bring this up. Look at this acrostic. It is the acrostic for the word think. Is it true, what I'm about to tell you? I'm going to talk to you about so-and-so or whatever. Let's make sure it's good. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? All of these things should be in place when you begin to speak about others. All of them. All of them. It may be true, but is it kind? You know, those things can be opposite. Man, that is really, really fat. Okay, see, that might be true. But is it kind? Okay, you should think a little longer. Think a little bit longer. We want to make sure all things are in place here, okay? So it may be true, but is it kind? Is it necessary for you to say it at all? Is it necessary at all? Is it really going to help or benefit anyone in any way for you to share that information with this person? Whose life are we improving here? Are we inspiring anything? Are we helping anything out? What are we doing here? Think. Think. Make sure all 5 of these are in place. If you're going to talk about somebody else, okay, is it true? Is this going to be helpful at all? Is it inspiring? Is it even necessary? And most of all, is it kind? Is it kind? Negativity usually doesn't come across as being so kind. That would get rid of the negative conversations. That'll help. Now I'm going to talk to you about somebody else. That person's really good at what they do. They're really good at, I wish I knew what they knew. They're really good at what they do. That's a good conversation. There you go. Is it true? Absolutely. Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Yeah. Is it necessary? Yeah, they need to know. I really believe in them. They're doing a good job. Is it kind? Yeah. Then let's talk like that. That works. That one works. God takes this topic so seriously. Don't sow discord. When he brought the Israelites out of Egyptian captivity, he must have felt pretty strongly about it then too. Look at what he says to the Israelites when they come out of captivity. Leviticus 19:16. You shall not go about as a talebearer among your people, nor shall you take a stand against the life of your neighbor. I am the Lord. God wanted them to know that there is a better way to handle things when you feel slighted by somebody else. Go to them and talk about it. Don't go to everyone else. If you go to others, you will create doubt or suspicion. You're sowing discord. And you can destroy people and relationships. Now, maybe you're not a person that sows discord. Maybe that's just not who you are. I just don't do this, but maybe you are the avenue where other people find to sow discord. Maybe you're the people. I feel like I can talk to you about anything. You know, so we have people like that. They're just the person where everybody wants to talk to that person. Don't tell so-and-so. You ever heard those conversations that start like that? When a person, this is a red flag, by the way. Somebody comes up to you, hey, don't tell so-and-so, but they said this about you. Like, this is sowing discord. Right there. Hey, don't tell so-and-so. Like, stop. Maybe you shouldn't tell so-and-so. Maybe we don't want to, maybe these ears don't want to hear any more of what that mouth is about to say. Let's not do this anymore. Don't tell so-and-so, but this is what they said about you. Or somebody comes up to you, I really don't like so-and-so, but, or I really like so-and-so. Man, I really like that guy, but stop. Red flag. Red flag. We have to guard ourselves against sowing discord and providing the means for somebody else to do it too. It's got to stop. Sometimes people speak this way because of hurt. Sometimes that's why they have to talk to us. They talk to us because they're hurting. Sometimes the only reason they can't resolve the issue is because they insist on holding on to the rope. Sometimes that's all there is. We speak badly about the other person because we're harboring bitterness of what they've done to us or what they said to us or whatever. Well, God gives us the answer for this one too. Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 32. And be kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God in Christ forgave you. Let go of the rope. It's just let it go. Let it go. You don't have to be connected with that event anymore. You don't have to be connected with that hurt anymore. Let go of the rope. And you're like, no, it's my rope. Enjoy the ride. There's a lot of injury coming because you won't let go of the rope. Let go of the rope. You've got to forgive as Christ forgave you. Well, I'll forgive him of some things. Well, is that how Christ forgave you? No. How much did he forgive you? Everything. Everything. Why don't you go ahead and let go of the whole rope? I'm just going to hold on to part of it. It's still the rope. I'm going to let go of this part. Right? You got a problem. As Christ forgave you, forgive him. Let go of the rope. Let go of it. God does not hold your sins against you. Now forgive even as Christ has forgiven you. Understand it happens. People do hurt people. But that doesn't mean you have to define that other person by what they did. And there's ways to reconcile. Let go of the rope. Let go of the rope. The area of speech can be a minefield. James talks about it a lot. Hey, the tongue, oh my goodness, you can destroy or you can lift people up. You should not have bitter water and fresh water coming from the same source. You watch that tongue, because you can destroy people's lives with it. We can influence and destroy simply by the way we choose to speak. So how are we supposed to speak? Colossians chapter 4 and verse 6. Let's look at this verse. Colossians 4, verse 6. Let your speech always be with grace, seasoned with salt, that you know how you ought to answer each one. The love of God should be evident in our lives at all times. People are watching. Our children are learning. How do we handle that problem, Dad? Okay, I got it. Talk bad about them. That's not the lesson you want to pass down. But they're watching. They're learning. Think before you speak. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspirational? Is it necessary? And is it kind? Let your speech always be with grace. Think. Think. We've got to repair this. We are in a society that this is so common that it almost feels right. It almost feels right. You go to somebody else and say, hey, I've got a problem with so-and-so. Tell me more about it. Why are we just let it right in. We just let it right in. And it happens within the church. Before you speak, think. Think. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspirational in any way? Is it necessary that you have to have this conversation at all? And is it kind? Put all 5 of them in there. Think. Think. Because we really do need to repair this. Now it's time to just take what the Bible says, what God has told us this morning, and it's time to evaluate ourselves. That self-examination, I don't know who does what. I don't know the conversations you have. I don't like these conversations, and I try my best to shut them down because it's not even good for my life. I'm susceptible. Satan knows my weaknesses, and I just don't want to open that door. So I don't know all your situations. I don't know how you talk with people or what you let other people say to you. But it's time to make that self-examination. Let's go ahead and stop this. As God's people, let's go ahead and shut this one down. Just think. Think.